Right, to evaluate 0.97 to the power 6 using the binomial theorem. So if we look up the binomial theorem stuff at the back of the exam, it looks something like this. Come on now. Here I said binomial theorem 3, right? This bit there, I clipped this out earlier, and this is what applies to our problem here. You see this 1 plus x, right? We can change this 0.97, so 0.97 equals 1 minus 0.03, right? Which is like 1 plus x. The plus x is actually a minus 0.03. So if we put brackets around this here, to the power 6, that's equal to this to the power 6. So applying this rule here, n, in our case, n equals 6, right? And x for us will actually equal minus 0.03, and then we can build away, right? So 1 minus 0.03 on to the power 6 equals, following our structure up here, 1 plus n times x. Well, what's n? N is 6. What's x? Minus 0.03. Next up, plus n times n minus 1. Well, that's going to be 6 times 6 minus 1 is 5. All over 2 factorial. You see the 2 here, you always have the same power here. X is minus 0.03 all to the power 2. And then we go again. Next up we have, it's going to be 6 by 5 by 4 on top. 6 by 5 by 4. And underneath we'll have 3 factorial, which means our x value minus 0.03 will be raised to the power of 3. And we keep going. We keep going till we hit 6 in the power here. So next up is plus 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 all over 4 factorial. And we're going to have minus 0.03 to the power of 4. And again, next one, we have 6 by 5 by 4 by 3 by 2 all to the power, all over 5 factorial. On top, multiply them by minus 0.03 to the power of 5. And lastly, we'll have 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 all over 6 factorial. And with minus 0.03, stuff it in here to the power of 6. Excuse me. Now we'll have to just tidy these up. So the first term is 1, and then we have 6 multiplied by 0.03 or minus 0.03, and that gives us minus 0.18. Next up this here, so we have 6 over 5 is 30, divided by 2 factorial will give us 15, right, 15, and we have 0.03 squared multiplied by 15. That gives us plus 0.0135 for the second term. The third term then is 6 times 5 times 4 comes to 120, divided by 3 factorial gives us 20, and that 20 is going to be multiplied by, you can open a bracket, by minus 0.03, close the bracket, then cube it, and I get minus, I get a very small number, so I can scrub out that plus and turn it into a minus. Minus 5.4 by 10 to the minus 4. I'm thinking there must be a handier way of doing this, but anyway, 4 factorial. 6, this, I'm going to got this here now. You could have a fraction key there. 6 fraction 6 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 on top. Yeah, multiplied by, in brackets, minus 0.03, close brackets, power that to 4, and underneath then I'm going to have 4 factorial. And I get a tiny number. Plus 1.215 by 10 to the minus 5. So I have 2 items left. So again, using the fraction key, 6 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by opening brackets minus 0.03, close brackets, put that to the power of 5, and underneath I have 5 factorial using the shift key there. And I get an extremely small negative number, minus 1.48 by 10 to the minus 7. And finally, the last one, 6 by 5 by 4 by 3 by 2 by 1 is 6 factorial, so 6 factorial over 6 factorial just gives us 1. So this whole guy here cancels off, and you're just left with minus 0.03 to the power of 6, which is going to be positive, and it is tiny, and I get plus 7.29 by 10 to the minus 10. And keeping that on the calculator, I'm going to subtract 1.458 by 10 to the minus 7 from that, and then I'm going to add plus 1.215 by 10 to the minus 5 onto that. Then I'm going to subtract 5.4 by 10 to the minus 4, and then I'm going to add 0.0135, so I'm going kind of backwards, minus 0.18 plus 1, and I get, after tidying all them up, 0.83297, say. That's the 5 decimal places. And now I'm going to check my answer, so I'm going to get 0.97 to the power of 6 just using the calculator. And I get that number, yeah, exactly. So I'm doing something right. So there's one way of doing it anyway.